What is up, my Sabronis? This is the Sabo Standard Podcast. I am Taylor Sabo. This is Scott Camdog Cameron. I got asked on YouTube the other day, one of the YouTube comments was like, why is it the Sabo Standard? I was like, my last name is Sabo. And the guy's like, me too. I was like, I'm just kidding. My last name's not Sabo. I took your last name for my show, buddy.
You know, it's really funny. I had a kid at school, like, how come it's Sabo Standard? How come it can't be like Sabo Camdog Standard? I'm like, I don't care.
Trademark.
I don't care.
It's LLC'd.
Listen, man. Listen,
maybe
man.
Someday. Maybe someday. If people win the merch.
That's right. Or maybe if we get like $1 million contract, or heck, we're just still waiting for the Miami fans to send me a real Miami cup rather than this U with a Sharpie on it.
The University of Cup.
University of Dublin City Schools.
What if I need like a quarter zip like this that says like, what is up, my Sabronis?
You know, marketing is important, and I was thinking maybe we should do like flip-flops, tampons, different soaps.
A calendar.
Oh, if we we could have a swimsuit calendar of you and I, but not together.
I got to do the blue steel.
Blue steel?
Magnum. A Tigre. What a classic. The kids don't know about the classic.
They don't know. It died in a freak gasoline accident.
They do know. They would know one meme from me because it was all over TikTok. It was excuse me, brah. You're excused, and I'm not your brah.
What
they
is
would
this?
Know that
the
part.
Housemaid for rent?
What a classic! And then they ruined it with the second one. Like,
try too hard, Tommy. Try hard. It's
here. We need the on three. We need the thing for the YouTube picture. Ready?
Ready?
All right, perfect. Hey, let's get started on some football talk. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. There was a lot that happened within the realm of football this last week. Obviously, 2 playoff games, or 2 college football playoff games, and then a bunch of NFL playoff games. Highs and lows for the Steelers the last 2 weeks. When we recorded was Sunday night. The Steelers and Ravens were playing, and I was like, God, doesn't matter. Ravens are going to win anyway. And so we'll talk about that. Your Packers blew a very big first half lead, and obviously some coaching changes. So we have a lot to talk about. Some highs and some really big lows for us as fans of our teams. But we'll save those tears for last. Let's talk some college football. Let's talk some Indiana. Let's talk some Miami. Miami and Ole Miss put on an absolute show. That was a fun game. At the end, I kind of felt myself rooting for Miami a little bit, or for Ole Miss a little bit. But Miami, like Carson Beck again, did his job, got it done. The run game was really good.
Yep.
And Ole Miss, it makes me think that if Sayan would just use his legs a little bit, then we win that game. Because Chambliss, he wasn't as explosive as he was versus Georgia, but he did what he needed to do, and the run game was great for Ole Miss, and it kept him in it. And, it was a fun Thursday night game.
Yeah, the running back kind of tweaking
Lacey.
his hamstring. Yeah. When Lacey took off on that long, was it 73 yards or something like that? Yard touch. When he got around the 10 and he kind of slowed up and he turned around and looked, I'm like, I thought instantly, I said, he pulled a hamstring. And I know that because I've done that exact same thing before, and I pulled a hamstring.
33-yard touchdown run.
I did, yeah. No, but where you think you're outrunning someone, and so you like slow up, and you turn around, like, oh crap, and you try, and it's just something about like your muscles, they're being, I don't know, it's probably some physiological thing, but so for him kind of being dinged up, and he still finished the game, and he was running and still breaking tackles and running through people was impressive, but yeah, it was just not enough. Carson Beck just did enough. I mean, he's doing a great job for being a 32-year-old college quarterback playing in the college football playoffs. But other than the fact he's 32 or whatever, something like that. But he did just enough to not screw it up. And, yeah, it just relied on the run game. And you could tell Ole Miss, they just kind of looked tired. They looked tired, and I was expecting Ole Miss to make Miami tired and take over the game. It never quite happened.
Yeah. Really, really controversial ending, I think. I texted you afterward. How fitting is it that Ole Miss or Miami wins the game on a very controversial pass interference call or no call for them? I think that I understand that in normal Hail Mary situations, it is really hard to throw a flag. There's such a scrum-dum of players together that there's PI on all forms of it, especially the defense that are jumping over, trying to knock it down.
Or even a hold.
In those situations, I can understand a little bit. But that wasn't a true Hail Mary. He was at like the 30-yard line. He rolled to his left, and it was a good throw to the back of the end zone. And that Miami player was draped all over the guy. I think it was a bad no call. And in college football, it's a 15-yard penalty. So it would have been a replay of an untimed down, but it's not like it puts it at the 1 like the NFL. And so I think that it should have been called in that moment. The fact it wasn't, I think Miami got away with it. I think they got very, very lucky there was no call.
But even if there was a call though, it's only 15 yards.
Right. No, they still have to get 15 yards for a touchdown, but it's one play.
Yeah. So
it's not like you're at the 1 and it's man versus man to get 1 yard. But at the same time, too, I hate that it ended like that. And Miami fans, I don't want to hear them complain about PI calls anymore because that was a very lucky, fortunate call for them to send them to the national championship.
It was a 23-year, 24-year call in waiting. Where it's like they were like, Ohio State, that wasn't really okay. It was, but but now that you got away with one,
they didn't call it. It wasn't.
Right, yeah. So now you've got a call that should have been a call. Just shut up. And now we can all agree that Ohio State beat Miami. Shut up. Quit whining about it. Oh, and by the way, the worst part about it was we had to watch crackhead Mike go over there and be like, let's beat this jacket off on another water cooler. It's like, chill out.
Yeah.
Just chill.
And then Indiana-Oregon on Friday, I anticipated that being an even better game. I really thought that we were going to get a great, great matchup between those two. Great first-time matchup in Autzen. We talked about the rematch. We talked about all the things that have to go their way. And again, I picked Oregon knowing that Indiana was the better team, and it was stupid to pick against Indiana. I just thought that being the same team twice was hard. Very first play of the game, obviously pick 6. That just takes all momentum for Indiana. And even Oregon gets the ball back, and they go on a really good drive to make it 7-7. And Indiana said, it doesn't matter what you do. We're going to score. And they scored, and they scored all night long, and they kept the starters in all game long. Like there was no mercy. He was showing no mercy. Really was. He was going to bring the dogs all night long, and that he did. And it was an embarrassment.
To the very end, first string, and I'm like, and even the announcers are like, why are they doing this? And they're like, no, he's sending a message. He's going to see things through all the way and 100%. And there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
And it was. I did not get to watch all the first half. I was officiating. However, I watched the replays, and I watched between games and quarters and things. It was very sloppy, and it goes just in line with what I think about his coaching. He's from the SEC. He's SEC all the way through. He just happens to be in the Big Ten. But Dan Lanning is he's that SEC sloppy, crappy play, and it works against SEC teams when there's other equally stupid, sloppy, crappy play. But Cignetti is a very disciplined. So any mistake that happens, Indiana capitalizes on that, and you just saw that sled go downhill. And just, Moore's coming back. He announced that today,
which shocked me. Which
yes.
Stupid. I don't think that he does anything next year that elevates them to more than what they were this year. For him, the only thing you're going to do is hurt your draft stock. I mean, you're going to go two overall. You're losing a lot of money.
You won't improve it.
Yeah.
You can hurt it, but you won't improve it.
Because you're not going over Arch or saying, the guys that Jeremiah Smith next year. I think it's a dumb decision.
I agree with that, and I think it's hilarious that Dylan Raiola. Didn't he sign with Oregon, I believe? Yeah.
So is he getting out of the portal again? Yeah.
Well,
I think Dan Lanning.
It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dan Lanning, I think he's a good coach. But when it comes to the playoffs and it comes to the fine details, because think about this, You're the number one team last year. You're 13-0, and you get embarrassed by Ohio State at the Rose Bowl. This year, you make it one more round further. You make it a semifinal round, and you get absolutely embarrassed by another Big Ten team, a guy that just outcoached you, out-physicaled you, all those things that Oregon football doesn't typically have. The physicality, they're all about speed, finesse, the physicality. I mean, Indiana beat them up all night long, and they dominated them. And I just Indiana, I'm so impressed with it. And I made this big Facebook post the next day because I was just thinking about it. It's like what they're doing in college football right now is unprecedented. And it's nothing that I'm about to say is a dig at them. It's just part of what college football is right now. It's part of the recruiting. It's part about playing the rules that are presented to them, and this allows them to do that. Their average age is 23 years old, and that makes a difference when other teams' average age is 19, 20, 21. Like a 2-year difference with college players is 2 more years of the amount of reps in a weight room. The practice, the reps that you get on the field, all those things, like that adds up. And when you have 10, 11, 12, 13 guys playing significant time with 2 years of extra reps of weight, of all those things that they get, you're going to have a big advantage. I put on there, I said the Green Bay Packers, your average age is 25 years old. So an NFL team with veterans that make it even more obscure than what it is, has a 2-year more, than a college team. They have dudes that have been on their third school. There's a few guys on their fourth school. There's at least 5 players on their third school. Like I just looked at guys that were recruited from the transfer portal last year that are on their third school. That was at least 5. And they get guys that have chips on their shoulder, and they play like they have chips on their shoulder. Yeah, Kurt Cignetti coaches every single play like he has has a chip on his shoulder. The whole team, the coaches, they celebrate, they play. Everything is like nobody's picking us. Nobody's picking us. Nobody's picking us. They're dominant. They're gritty. They play with a relentless effort, and they just dominated in all phases of the game.
They're gritty? Would they do the gritty?
They probably would.
I bet they would.
And, like, even from the opening kickoff, like, there was the opening kickoff. Oregon returned it. The Indiana dude flew down. He just wanted to make that tackle more than that kid. And he just set the tone. And then the pick six. I mean, there was nothing that it was over. It was over right then and there. And so, this is good for Indiana. You and I talked about after the Big Ten Championship that the next game, the Rose Bowl, was the biggest game in school history. And they won that. That was the biggest game in school history. Now they get to play for the biggest game in school history for a program that has been the doormat of the FBS for years. They're going to win a national championship. I think, take them by 21. Like, I would be shocked. I'm not doing this again, but I would be shocked if Miami is able to compete with Indiana. I really am. I think that they are that good. They are that dominant. And I don't know how much longer this can happen. I don't think Cignetti can replicate this to a T to a national championship because other schools now are going to start doing this. We have to go get the 4th and 5th year dudes that were 2 and 3 stars out of high school because now they're 4 or 5 stars because they have all that age. They have that experience. They have those weight room reps. Like, that is the biggest thing that non-football people will never understand is the weight room reps. Like, I'm not the best coach when it comes to like being in the weight room and like coaching weight room stuff, but I have been around coaches that is what it's about. And we have built, like, I'm part of a Galleon football program that has seen dudes, freshmen that put in time, freshmen their sophomore year, and by juniors, they are absolute dudes. They are dudes in the weight room, and those 2 years matters. And then you take college kids that have every resource available to them of nutrition, of the best coaching, of whatever, muscle you need to hit. They have that extra time. It makes a difference. It makes a difference.
No, you're absolutely right. You're right in everything you said. Let's add on to this though. Cignetti, great coach, does a great job. But I think you and I talked about this, and I've had this conversation with other people before too. He's got a lot of guys that have chips on their shoulder and have something to prove. Well, the problem is, the higher the talent, the smaller the chip. And so now he's getting his program so good that he's attracting higher talent. I'm interested to see how he's able to keep those players motivated that he's getting that are higher talent. So I'm interested to see what happens in the next 2 or 3 years. If you were asking me right now, who's the best college coach, it's clearly Cignetti. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested to see in a couple years how good he really is. But he can coach the kids who have a chip on their shoulder. That's kind of easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder to motivate and to facilitate and to keep everyone happy. There's a reason why Phil Jackson is a stud. All those personalities and managing that stuff and to doing what he did, there's no question you will never convince me. Anyone else, I don't give a crap who you bring up. Phil Jackson is the greatest basketball coach ever. And it's not even close. It's not even close. Okay? Like, Phil Jackson's a 10 and, like, Red Auerbach's like a 6. Okay? It's not even close. Because there's something to that. And I'm interested to see what Cignetti does. But, yeah, man, Oregon, they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. And it was just sloppy. And you're right. They did show some grit coming back, making it 7-7, but then just dumb turnovers and woof. It was hard to watch for them.
Yeah, Cignetti took his soul. You talk about how does he do? I really don't think he's at Indiana that much longer, because for him, like, when he signed that big contract extension, obviously it was still in the works, like this run. You will never. I don't think he can repeat this in Indiana. I'm not saying that they're going to be bad again. As long as he's there, they're going to be contenders. But, like, you've done it in Indiana. What's that, like? What's the dream job for him? Is it Bama? If, like, if he gets fired next year, is it Bama? Does he want an NFL gig? Like, obviously there's some big time NFL gigs that we're going to talk about in a second. Does that get to the point of let's go do it at the big place now, and where? Or does he always want to be the underdog, chip on his shoulder guy? But I don't think he wants to. I think that he wants to prove everybody wrong, and he could do that in so many different ways. I'm really interested of it. I don't know.
No, I could see that too. He has a chip on his shoulder, right? And he wants to prove, if people say, no, you can't do that, he's like, okay, watch me. And I think there is a degree to that. Does that mean he goes to Bama? Listen, man, if you're married to a supermodel, why do you want to go marry another supermodel, right? I don't see that as a vertical move for him, other than, hey, this is where I used to coach. Yeah. Now, I can see the vertical move coming to an NFL team, but there's such a strong track record of college coaches don't cut it in the NFL.
College to NFL, it's hard. It's a hard transition unless you were an NFL guy type of, like, Orion Day feels NFL a lot of times because he was with Chip Kelly with the Niners and with the Eagles.
Right.
Like, he's been around that. Whereas Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, they were never NFL guys until they went to the NFL for the first time.
Right.
I do want to talk transfer portal real quick before we get in the NFL. We got to pick this game first. Sorry, we had to pick this game first.
Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
I think part of me thinks that we can still get a good, because I was so, like, I mean, I've been the biggest Miami hater, right? I was the biggest Miami hater. There's no way they can compete with Ohio State, and they did. And Ohio State's been the only team to be able to compete with Indiana in the last, 5-6 games. Like, Ohio State was a 13-10 loss. And so maybe that speaks more about our Buckeyes than we thought. Indiana's, after that game, has just absolutely peaked. I think Miami is going to play gritty. They're going to play the same chip on their shoulder that Indiana's going to play with. I just think that Indiana's so good. Like, I think they win by 21. Like, I think it's like 42-21.
Indiana is going into a hostile environment. Indiana just got done playing a home game at the Peach Bowl. However, now that's gone. You're going to Miami, and that's not going to be a 90-10. It's going to be like a 75 Miami, 25 Indiana.
Yeah. I think it'll be 50-50. I think these Indiana people, they're going to pay their money to go.
Money.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. So, but it's definitely not going to be like it was. Okay, at best. So I'm interested to see how those guys handle that. I still do. I could see Miami maybe having a little bit more spirit. But I think it's going to be at least a 42-17 kind of deal. In the end. Man, Indiana is brutal. They're brutal, and Miami's fast and they hit hard too, but man, Indiana shows no mercy. Like they would have been perfect Vikings, like, oh no, we're gonna take your wife and your kids and we're gonna kill you and burn your house down. Like that's the spirit they play with. They're Vikings, and so I think it's gonna get ugly eventually.
Yeah, you want to do your Mendoza impression? What was Mendoza like after the game?
We have so much synergy with our team right now, and our guys, there's nothing I could do but thank the Lord above, and I'm telling you, there's so much synergy between the top of the program and the administration of our wonderful school, and there's nothing more than what our Coach Signetti, he is fantastic, and I'm telling you what, the Lord is with us in every step of the way. There's so much synergy between the Lord, the administration, and our team. It's great, isn't it, Aaron Andrews? And it is a great story, man. Him coming from Cal, and of course, there's a long track record of Cal, and his dad being who he is, and his mom's sick, and of course,
to win a Heisman. And you talk so much about the Heisman curse, and he's one game away from winning national championship as a Heisman winner.
I am wondering though if Brent Musburger is going to show up to the national championship game just to hit on Fernando Mendoza's aunt.
There's a good chance.
50-50. Oh, what do you know? Look what the camera's found. Oh, she is a beautiful MILF. Oh, I tell you what, she is absolutely fantastic. There's a reason why. Look at those genetics. And then Dan Fouts will come on. Well, Kellen Winslow, I played with his daddy. Go Chargers.
What I was gonna do a Waterboy line. Gosh, I don't remember how it goes, and then the Waterboy between those two. Transfer portal, real quick, because we gotta talk NFL. You got Chicago PD at 10 p.m., so we only got 26 minutes. We gotta get through this.
It's my wife and I's favorite show, man. It's our
we don't want to make Miss Cam Dog mad.
Yeah.
Transfer portal, we benefited from it, and so I don't want to be the guy that cries about it when it doesn't benefit us so much anymore.
We got a kicker today. Did you see that?
Yeah, we did. We've made some moves. Like we've made some moves. We got the Bama dudes. Like we've been doing okay. Like it's not like we're just losing everybody and bringing nobody. We benefited from. We got Will Howard. We got Judkins. We got Caleb Downs. We got we got all those guys. And at one time we got those three dudes that were so monumental in bringing a championship to Ohio State. Abe Benosa was an Ole Miss transfer. Sayin is technically a transfer, but I don't really count Sayin because he was there for 2 weeks and was there for Nick Saban. But like we had dudes that were a big part of our national championship run be transfers. So it's benefited us. But at the same time, too, kids that have left Ohio State, besides Joe Burrow, who was not great his first year, like Haskins was still been the starter had Burrow stayed. Haskins was not good that first year. Or Burrow wasn't. Obviously, Burrow became great that second year. But besides Joe Burrow, like who has transferred from Ohio State and has been great? But the problem is just the amount of players that left Ohio State, or Bo Jackson, who was like thinking about leaving Ohio State because there is just this unlimited, like, hey, we could get you more money here, so consider it. And that's where the sport is broken. And that's where it's so hard to like justify this, to be a fan, to think that what is going on is okay. The moment that Bryce West left, why does Aaron Scott why? And Bryce West, you're going to Wisconsin, and I guarantee you it's about this. Bryce West was a Glenville kid. Those Glenville kids, like, they live and breathe and die Ohio State football. And you had a chance to start, and you just won more money. And maybe
Ohio kids are cheap. That's the thing. They're cheap for the university to pull in. So they start seeing the dollar signs now, and it's changing.
But because there's no regulation on the cash or the NIL or the people running the NIL that can be like, hey, tell your kid we can get him here for this amount. It's like, why recruit high school kids anymore? And that's why I think like Ohio State they're gonna bring in 10 kids in a year of high school recruits and bring in the rest as transfers, because you're gonna bring in 25 kids and half of them are gonna leave because they didn't get enough playing time, and because other schools are like, hey, if Ohio State can get that kid, we can get him now for $4 million. He's got to be good at Ohio State if he's going to Ohio State, and it's just hop, and it's no development. Like, you're not able to like develop these kids like they were before because they're not there in your program enough. And it's hard then as a fan. Like, why do people not love college basketball as much anymore? Because with a one and done, it was who's my team anymore. And with Ohio State right now, like, I don't know what our defense looks like next year. Like, I don't know those names. I don't know those kids. There's not that personal connection with them. Whereas college football has always been about the personal connection with your sport, with the kids, with the coaches. Like,
it's just at least they're a couple years. Yeah.
And the NCAA has no double backbone to do anything, and it's ruined. The offseason is ruined. The calendar is ruined. The transfer is ruined. And then we go get a great game like we did Thursday night between Ole Miss and Miami, and you're like, my God, the sport is great. I love everything about the sport. This is awesome. And then they go tell Chambliss, like, hey, you can't have another year of eligibility. But that one, the TJ Finley kid who's going on his 7th school, hey, you can still play another year. Like, and
Right.
I'm
It's
Chambliss.
inconsistent.
I hope Chambliss goes and balls out in the NFL. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he'll do okay. But the dude was a D2 guy for a long time and comes in and wants to be at Ole Miss. He wants to stay at the school. He wanted to stay at Ole Miss, like he was going to. And the NCAA said no. Like, it's a joke.
It is inconsistent. And a fellow educator named Leroy Smith, he's at Travers with me. He was a running back at Bowling Green in the mid-'90s. And so we talk a lot of football a lot. And we were talking today, and we're like, it's wild that like these really mid-grade quarterbacks are getting now like $4 to $6 million. And it's like they're just begging for a commissioner. They're begging for oversight, and no one's giving it to them. The adults are ruining the sport. Whether it's the people of lack of oversight, whether it's the agents, whether it's the parents who are money hungry and they're like, my baby boy can get $50,000 a year to take some snaps. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, well, it's just so dumb, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. I know there's a whole nother camp of people who are like, I think players should be getting money anyway. I have personal feelings about the pay thing. I think that is, and I think there's valid points. It's not that they're getting paid, it's the amount that they're getting paid. But as long as people are still willing to pay it, it's stupid. However, I think there's less and less private donors because private donors are going to run out of money. Unless you're like an oil tycoon, kind of Texas, Oklahoma kind of, you know what I mean? Private donors eventually are going to get annoyed, or the well's going to run dry because the kid's showing up for 1 year and then leaving. So that means we're talking about corporate or some sort of sponsorship by a corporation. That can get really ugly.
And that's
really
bad
quick.
too. Like, that's awful.
That's bad too. I know.
I mean, the only thing that's worse than that is having
none of it's good.
The only thing worse than that is having your billionaire associated with your school. He's more associated with the Epstein files than he is with the Ohio State University. So
yeah. He made some killer lingerie.
Yeah, I bet I know you have some. You tried to send me pictures for the calendar in them.
That would be a good idea.
We have 20 minutes, so we'll talk transfer portal more later. We got to get through this NFL. So let's rapid fire these games real quick, and then you and I will talk the sadness that we have to end the show. Broncos Bills, that's gonna be a fun game. I think the Bills get it done. Denver's -1.5, but if this is Josh Allen's year. He has to do it.
Buffalo Bills have only 3 wide receivers on their roster as of this morning.
Josh Allen is one of them.
They have 3 wide receivers. Plus, they're playing on a short week. Going to Broncos, understaffed. Man, Josh Allen took some thumps last week, man. Against a Broncos defense, I think the Broncos are going to win by 10.
Ooh, okay. If that's the case, McDermott gets fired.
Tell you what, hey, you know what? If he gets fired,
John Harbaugh.
I think you're going to have some AFC North teams making some phone calls.
Maybe. John Harbaugh goes to the Bills if he gets fired.
I think that'd be the case. Yeah, that could very well happen.
Pats, Texans, New England's -3.5. Obviously, the Texans' defense is phenomenal. We'll talk about that game specifically in just a minute. But Patriots, Texans, like I said, New England's -3.5. That's a tough one. I could see that being like that's a 12-9 grinded out game, like 1st to 15.
Yeah, and you know what? It's in New England. It's going to be cold. It's going to be crappy. Houston's a dome team. Listen, Houston's hot.
They went to Pittsburgh the other night and they got done. It was cold.
Correct. I don't know, man. Vrabel's got a good thing going, and he's hot. I think he's hotter, and I think New England by 4.
Yeah, New England's going to pull it out, but it's close. It's a good defensive game.
Right.
Seahawks, Niners, Seattle's -7. Niners squeaked it out. Like, that was a good victory by them. They just they depleted more and more and more and more. Did you see this? I don't want to spend too much time on it, but apparently there's a conspiracy theory that the 49ers have all these Achilles and ACL tears because their practice facility is like right by this like super electromagnet like company or I don't even know what it was, but that the amount of electromagnetism or energy that is through where that area is more than what we're exposed.
Probably a 5G tower.
Maybe we're gonna have to look at this. We're gonna talk about this more next week when Chicago PD's not on a Wednesday night. That's -7. I think Seattle gets it done. Great season by the Niners. They proved me wrong in every single way. And last week I said they got to get it done because I picked against them every single time, and I was finally a believer, and they did it. But Seahawks on this one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. San Fran's going in a little beat up. Seattle's a hard place to play, very loud. Seattle's rested, they're healthy. San Fran is not. And yeah, I'm going to go Seattle by 7.
And then Rams-Bears. Rams is -3.5. Obviously, your Bears played a heck of a second half. That is a gritty team. Ben Johnson is a great coach. It's not even anti-Packers. The Packers didn't lose that game. The Bears won it, and you can talk about it in just a second. This is the game of the week. This is fun. This is awesome. I think the Rams get it done because I think the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. But man, like if the Bears beat them, I'm not shocked.
It is really cold and windy. And I think the Rams are going to be California dreaming because this ain't going to be SoCal, man. It's going to be cold. It's going to be sucky. It's going to be bleh. And I'm telling you, Matt Stafford, they got lucky they won last week. I'm curious. I've not heard anything about Matt Stafford's thumb. But I'm telling you, they got lucky last week.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how well his thumb is healed. But even with the 50% Matthew Stafford thumb, that's not going to overcome the Bears in the cold because, man, once it's cold, that thumb is going to iron up and it's not going to be easy to throw a football. That's a hard place to play. Chicago by 3.
I like it. I mean, I can see it happening, and that's going to be a good game. I'm excited for that one. All right, obviously you and I, we both have had a very rough weekend. With our favorite teams. You are a Packers fan, up 21-3 at halftime, and obviously you are not playing this week. So go ahead and get the feelings out. I was rooting for you for your sake. I was hoping they got it done.
I know,
but it was a fun game. At least you got to watch a fun game. And we talked about the injuries that you have dealt with all season to get to still be where you were. It's not a total loss of a season. But go ahead.
Yeah. The Parsons injury was the beginning of the wheels coming off. And then Love getting injured, or had a concussion. It's just like we came out and they were practice and they were ready for everything. Then all of a sudden, the Green Bay Buckeyes showed up and they have no kicker. That guy, the kicker missing the field goal before halftime, I was like, ooh, that's going to hurt us. Because you're going in down. And instead of being up 3 touchdowns, now it's 3 possessions to win, not just 3 possessions to tie. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And then when he missed the extra point, that was the icing on the cake. I'm like, that's ball game. We let them back all the way. The dam is broken. The pieces are on the ground. And this ain't over in Rome where we're going to piece together a little mural with all these little pieces. It's not going to happen. So Green Bay has a decision. Next year, I'm hoping Parsons is fully healthy when he comes back, and you're going to get Gary back and everything else. And they're very young. It's very clear we need help at the cornerback position. The problem is the Green Bay Packers gave away their first-round draft pick to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you got a great thing out of it, but that great thing is injured right now. Yep. So you're going to have to hold on to the second round to try and draft an offensive lineman. Maui Goa from Miami might be available then at that point. Maybe. You might be lucky and snag one. You have Rivers at Duke. You have Pons at Indiana. Maybe at corner you can draft, but you got to do something to shore up that offensive line and your DBs because it's just those are desperately needed. And, it was frustrating, but I saw that happening once he missed that field goal,
Yeah.
and you go in down. That's just
Yeah,
it's brutal,
and
man.
you get Ben Johnson some momentum, and they took it. And again,
Yeah,
I don't think you guys lost it. I think that they took it. That's a good gritty team, and Ben Johnson is a top 3 coach in the NFL right now.
yeah, yeah.
And if obviously I'm going to talk about some head coaches in a second. If I had choice, like he would be my number one. That's most number one. That's off the table. That's the biggest dream, but he's good, man. He's really good. So,
Yeah,
anything
I
else
feel
on the
better.
Packers?
I'm really mad at them.
The last time we recorded, we were watching the Steelers-Ravens game. The Ravens were up 10-0. The Steelers ended up coming back, finding a way to win it. Tyler Lute missed a field goal, and I was chanting, like, here we go all week long. And I wanted to do another episode last week just so I could wear the terrible towel around. I was all excited. I was pumped. And then Saturday night I was watching that game, and my wife says, it looks cold there. It looks like fun for them. And I was like, I want to go to the game. I called my dad. You want to go? He said, he's not flying. He said, tickets are too much. I said, it's a 5-hour drive. He said, no. So I called my buddy. You want to go? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So we bought tickets Sunday. We drove down to after work on Monday. We get to Pittsburgh about 7 o'clock. It's electric, man. It just feels like we are ready for a playoff win for the first time in a long time. It was the crowd. I've been to a few Steelers games. I've been fortunate to go to a few. I've never been to a playoff game. I've never been to a night game. So get to do that both at one time was cool. It was loud. The place was electric. It was buzzing. It was so cool. It was such a beautiful night of football. It was cold. Everything about it was playoff Steelers football. 2 great defenses, 10-6 going to the fourth quarter, and then, like you said, it was the dam broke and the water just poured and poured. It was the worst quarter of football I've ever seen in my entire life. It was the most disappointing quarter of football I've ever seen in my entire life. It sucked. It was awful. It drained everything. People left halfway through the fourth quarter. There was no renegade. All those things, and the fire Tomlin chants came out. And I have been a guy for the last 5 years who has said back and forth, I've been keep him, fire him, keep him, fire him. There's so much emotion onto why did I want him fired? Because we could never get success in the playoffs. But he was such a good coach for that team, and everything that he did was that Pittsburgh Steelers football. And obviously we lose and we don't win a playoff game again. And yesterday, the news breaks that he's stepping down. He didn't get fired. He stepped down. Since 1969, they've had 3 coaches. They had 13 from 33 to 68. Since 69, Chuck Noll was there for 23 years. After Super Bowl 14, he didn't win another one. That was 12 years that followed that. He finished 193, 148, and 1. Cowher was there for 15 years. He got to his first Super Bowl in like year 4, and then took him 10 years to get back to one, and he spent 1 more year. And then 2007, Mike Tomlin comes around. Obviously, he went Super Bowl 43 in his second year. He lost to the Packers in the 2010 season. We got back to the playoffs many times. We haven't won one since 2016. But every year, we were going to guarantee ourselves 9 or 10 wins or 8 wins, not a losing season. He finished also tied with Chuck Noll with 193 wins. So he never got to get that 194 that made him the winningest coach of all time. I've been on the fire Tomlin train for some time, but I think yeah, you do a better Cowher impression than you do Signetti. I think that the overwhelming, just what I see on Facebook and Twitter, the fire Tomlin chants the other night, the amount of times I heard people try to start it and it just didn't pick up. Now, I know the Buffalo game, it was real bad. You see on Facebook, you see on Twitter, you see the videos where it was bad throughout that entire game, the fire Tomlin chants. But I think that we all knew Monday night that there was a real possibility that was happening the next day or as soon. And you had your jabronis that were yelling it. But overall, it did not pick up, which I do like. I didn't want that for that moment to lose like that, for him to leave the field with the overwhelming fire Tomlin chance. Now, it did clear out quick, so there was less opportunity for that. But I was 10 years old when they hired Mike Tomlin the first time. I'm grateful for the Super Bowl win, the Super Bowl appearances. I've watched a lot of games at my homes, at my dad's, at my mom's. In my houses I've lived in as an adult, the amount of Steelers games I've watched at B-Dubs, I've been fortunate enough to go to games in Pittsburgh. I was even at a game in Cleveland when Myles Garrett swung his helmet at Mason Rudolph. I've watched Mike Tomlin and the Steelers in a lot of ways. I'm grateful for Mike Tomlin. I'm grateful for the memories that he's brought to me as a Steelers fan. It's unfortunate that it had to end this way, but at the same time, it was time. And it was time, and it's okay that it was time. I'm excited for new blood to come in, and I don't know what that's going to look like. I honestly think that we're better off maybe hiring a Gerard Mayo type of guy for 1 year who's a clown, and then you go get – like Mike Vrabel was handed to the Patriots. Hey, we're going to hire Mayo. Oh, he's awful. Oh, Vrabel, he's here for you. I want the big name. I want Ben Johnson. I want Sean McVay. I want Mike Vrabel. I want Dan Campbell. Like, those are my top four. Then it becomes maybe a little realistic. Maybe Cignetti. He's a Pittsburgh guy. He is a Pittsburgh-born guy. For the right amount of money, if he wins the national championship, would he do it? I like Ryan Day. Ryan Day is an NFL guy. Maybe he's a dude. I think Chris Shula is the obvious name. A 30-year-old defensive coordinator. Cowher was a 30-year-old defense coordinator. Mike Tomlin was a 30-year-old defense coordinator. He's the grandson of Don Shula. I wouldn't be upset with Freeman and Clint Kubiak and Brian Flores are like the two hottest names. Kubiak, Flores, and Shula. I think it's gonna be one of those three guys. But I want the O-minded guy. I want the guy that is progressive in the offense, the new age of the NFL. I'm excited for what's to come. I think you see what Will Howard has next year. If it's not there, if there's nothing there with him, and we finish 3 wins, then you go draft your quarterback. If there is something with Will Howard and you have 3 wins and you have a top 3 pick and quarterbacks go 1-2, well then guess what?
You got Sand, you got Manning, you got all sorts
I'm saying
choices.
if Will Howard is the dude and you have a top 3 pick,
yeah, then
guess who you
go
get? You get Jeremiah Smith.
Wide receiver. Yeah, you get a wide receiver.
I'm okay next year with mediocrity. Like, I'm okay with it for 1 year if it means that the rebuild is so quick, because it was time. It was time, and I'm okay with it being time. I'm sad about it. I really am. Like, after reflection for the last 24 hours, I'm sad because I love that the team I'm a fan of, that I was fortunate enough to choose as a young kid to be a fan of. My dad, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. They were Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I'm lucky enough to get to watch a team that has a guy like Mike Tomlin, who just always seemed like a good, genuine dude who loved to compete, loved football, loved being a Pittsburgh Steeler. I don't think he coaches again. I think like Bill Cowher, he retired. People thought he was going to get into it so many times, he never did. I don't know if Tomlin does.
Why would you want to? Why would you want to? You get paid more money to do TV, and there's less stress.
You're a Steelers legend for life.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think when you're looking at culture and that hard-nosed, blue-collar culture, Dan Campbell would be perfect for that.
Mm-hmm. The only town, Detroit's gritty. The only town that's grittier than Detroit is Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Dan Campbell would be perfect there.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not a Steelers fan in any way, shape, or form at all, but I respect the Steelers, and I think for that reason, if just out of respect, I think Dan Campbell would be a great home run hire there. You swing, can't miss. Yeah.
Like I said, my top 4 is Ben Johnson, McVay, Vrabel, and Dan Campbell. Those are my top 4. I think all 4 of those are unrealistic, and then I think after that, my list is kind of like.
I tell you what, I wouldn't call Dan Campbell unrealistic.
Yeah.
I think he would listen. Now, here's the other thing. Yeah, you're talking about the wheels falling off. Man, you talked about the lack of wide receiver ability for the Steelers this year, and you saw that really come out in that second half. I felt bad for Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Packers guy here, hello. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for your career. You gave my boys a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Man, I grew up on Brett Favre and just seeing that and so, yeah, man, we at Green Bay, we had 2 quarterbacks in like 30 years or something like that, And so, I get it. It's a change, but it's a change that has to happen.
It's like when you put down
death, taxes, and change, right? It's
like
inevitable.
when you put down your family dog. Like, you're sad, but you remember all the good times, and you're going to get a new dog to replace it soon, and you're going to love that dog too. And there's good memories and bad memories with the dog.
That's right. Oh, yeah, I know.
And the Tomlinisms, obviously, before you came on, before I did the piss like a puppy, I always ended this with Mike Tomlin's the standard is the standard. Part of why the joke is it's the Sabo Standard, because the standard is the standard. That's the Tomlinism. I'm like I said, I'm just grateful, and it was time though.
Must be pretty low. Must be pretty low if you've had me on.
Oh, here. It's a low standard. Even before you were on, it was the standard is a standard, but it's a low standard.
But but it is a standard nonetheless.
Yeah.
So, are we to the point of Cameron's conversation piece?
We got 3 minutes of Cam Dog conversations before Chicago PD.
Well, we got a little bit of time. Okay, so I don't
want to keep her waiting on you.
Listen, no, it's okay. It's okay. So, it's a tournament style sandwich. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. It's gonna 1 and 4 seed, 2 and 3. Okay, so on this side we have hamburger, sloppy Joe.
Hamburger, 100%.
Why?
Versatile, so much more versatile. Do I get to put cheese and condiments and stuff on it, or is it plain hamburger versus a plain sloppy Joe?
That's a great question. No, we're just gonna go plain. It's slap some meat on that bread, and that's it. That's it.
Cheeseburger, at least.
Okay, no.
Okay, I'm still going the hamburger. Sloppy Joes are fine, but I like my sloppy Joes. I gotta put cheese on it. I gotta put a little bit of Miracle Whip on it. That's the only way I like a sloppy Joe. A hamburger, I can raw dog a hamburger.
Have you ever put pickle and mustard on a sloppy Joe?
I'm not a pickle or mustard guy. So I'm going hamburger. All right, other side.
You know what? I'm going to take hamburger also. It's definitely the better of the meats.
Yes.
Though I like the moisture. I like the content of a sloppy Joe. It's not going to dry up in
sloppy.
I like them extra sloppy. Stop it, lady. You're scaring us. So the sloppy Joe has a nice congeniality, and I'm not talking about the miss, but it's just like Reese Witherspoon, eat your heart out. But I'm sorry, hamburger, and it has more versatility, more options. There's a lot of things you could put on a hamburger, up to an egg, and make it a Royale.
Yep.
Okay, so hamburger.
Yep.
Okay. The other side, chicken or fish?
Chicken. I'm not a big fish guy. I'm not, it's been okay here and there, but chicken is as versatile as it comes. Sandwich, wrap, doesn't matter. Chicken nuggets, chicken wings.
We're not talking about chicken nuggets or chicken wings, dummy. We're talking about daggone sandwich.
I know, and I'm saying though, on a sandwich, then it makes it even better. Chicken on a sandwich, you get a little bit of bread, a little bit of chicken. I'm not a big fish guy. Sometimes it's cold in the center still. Sometimes it just the crust yeah, I know. The crust is just it falls off.
Where do you get fish? Where do you?
I'm not a big fish guy for a reason.
Whoa! Are you saying that your actual experience of a fish sandwich is maybe subpar in nature, so therefore it's a skewed negativity towards the fish?
If I need a fish sandwich too, I can't just have fish and bread. I need to have some cheese on it. I need to I need melt. But you just said for my burger, it's plain. So I assume my chicken sandwiches and my fish sandwich was plain too.
Plain. Yeah, plain Jane.
Chicken.
Oh, really? I'm gonna go fish. It's crispy. It's still got the meat.
Sometimes
it's still got the meat, and a chicken sandwich is good, but. It's the same reason with sloppy Joe. There's something about that mushiness, but the crispiness. I'm going to go fish sandwich or the chicken sandwich. Call me dumb. D-U-M dumb. Eat it, Hurricanes. So, all right. So you have hamburger and chicken. Who's the champion?
I'm going hamburger. It's my go-to. It's always the easiest one. And then if I got full customization over both of them, either way, I think the hamburger just has the best combo of any type of cheese, condiments, lettuce, tomato, more than the chicken does. You give me a smash burger, you give me a regular, thick burger. You go to a restaurant, a fast food place, I'm more known for burgers than they are the chicken. So I'm going hamburger.
Yeah. I'm going to go with hamburger as well. The more versatility. I'm a beef guy, I'm a beef guy, and as much as chicken of the sea, a la fish, it's just I'm more of a hamburger guy. Okay, so let's for poops and giggles, who wins the second place match? Sloppy Joe or fish for you?
Ooh. Probably sloppy Joe. Again,
you disdain fish that much.
I'm telling you, if you take a sloppy Joe, put a slice of American cheese on it and some Miracle Whip or some mayo, unbelievable. The hot take that I have is the best type of sandwich actually is just a good club sandwich or a Philly cheesesteak. If you're gonna go sandwich brackets, next time you give me some real good, give me good, real high quality sandwiches. Not this plain cheeseburger, plain chicken sandwich. I need a Philly. I need a club sandwich with some barbecue sauce on it, with some mayo, lettuce, tomato, turkey, bacon, toasted bread.
Listen, You said I had 3 minutes before Chicago PD. I just made a 1 through 4 bracket. I'm not going to add a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, a knuckle sandwich, a poop sandwich, or any other kind of sandwich you want, pal. Add 1 through 4, and that's what you got.
Maybe if you take my podcast serious, you take my show serious, you'd be a little bit more prepared to making Cam Dog conversations.
Okay, pal.
During our conversation. Boy. I'm talking about Mike Tomlin over here, and you're like, sandwiches in my head. All I think about is sandwiches. You look like all you think about is sandwiches.
I'm a food guy. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. Fork boy. Forks are the best. I made love with a fork. I don't know, whatever you do.
Anything else for the good of the order before you go to Chicago PD?
Boy. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the transfer portal because of school kids that don't get into a school or don't get accepted. I'm interested to see if some kids come back to Ohio State somehow.
Yeah, Milan was kind of the rumor too, and then he went to Notre Dame yesterday also. But yeah, we will see what happens with it. I'm interested to see these NFL coaches openings. We didn't really get to who goes where, other than we think Harbaugh would go to the Buffalo if he gets fired. We'll see what happens with these jobs and these openings and who's in play. I think McDaniels is going to go to Cleveland. I think Stefanski is going to go to the Giants. So we'll probably have some of those to talk about next week, and got some NFL games to talk about. We got National Championship that we will cover next week. We're doing this on Wednesday night, but that's just because I was at the game Monday night and I was pretty dead tired yesterday. So next week we'll be back on our normal Monday or Tuesday schedule.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll end with Piss Like a Puppy, Stay on the Porch, but in honor of Mike Tomlin, because the show is the Sabo Standard Podcast, we really honored Mike Tomlin in the beginning with the standard of the standard. Here is Mike Tomlin telling us about that standard being the standard. Mike, take it away, and then Jamal, you got it after.
The standard is the standard. That's our motto. That's our creed. That's our approach.
Because if you go piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat.